Hey, good afternoon, cadets. It's Lieutenant Colonel Baker here with Decision Making, Lesson 1, Bullying. And I'm sure all of us have been victim of some form of bullying in our lifetimes, to include me. I've got some good stories from junior high of what happened to me when I moved from Germany back to Nebraska. Some of these situations were not fun when I was in 8th grade. So, as always, we have the essential question: what can you do to prevent or stop bullying? I don't know if you guys have seen that commercial with the Marines and the one female sees somebody being bullied in the stairwell and she rushes to help them. I think that's a pretty good graphical depiction of what we should try to do to help our fellow classmates and our fellow cadets. Right? All right, so think about what you know about bullying. Okay, this is something that we all understand. We all have a concept of what bullying is in our heads. Right? We all probably look at it a little bit differently than each other, but there are some things that are the same. Right? So, in a recent study indicates that 20% of students in grades 9 through 12 say they have been bullied. 20%. Okay, if you think about that, there's 1,000 students in our school at South Brunswick High School. 20% of those 1,000 have been bullied in some form or fashion. That's a pretty high number, okay? And it's kind of sad. Okay? But here's our learning objectives. We will describe the 3 types of bullying and explain how cyberbullying is different from the other forms of defined keywords: cyberbullying, extort, intimidate. Okay? Describe the effects of bullying and explain the strategies to deal with it. Okay? So now, let me pull up the video.
It starts with 1.
It starts with 1. It starts with 1.
There is a way to stop bullying.
It starts with 1. Be that one.
Okay, so what I want you to do is develop your own definition of what bullying is. Okay, write it down somewhere. Don't look it up on Google. Okay, you guys have all probably been either a victim of bullying, so you probably have a really good definition, so you don't need any outside help. Okay, and then share it. I'd like to hear it. Okay, send me an email. Okay, because I'm real curious to know what you guys think. All right, so now let's think about different types of bullying. Okay, remember we talked about 20% of the U.S. students have experienced some form of bullying. Okay, so here's the book definition of bullying: the use of threats or physical force to intimidate and control another person. And you can get bullied as an adult too, by the way, guys. It doesn't just stop when you get out of high school or start when you get into school. All right. So I love these graphical depictions. This guy is the aggressor, and this poor fellow, the blue guy, is leaning back because he's getting a full earful of anger from this gentleman, okay? Is it bullying or is it just bad behavior? Okay? This behavior is extremely aggressive, right? You can tell that there's an imbalance between the two because he's going forward and this gentleman is rocking backwards, okay? And he's very surprised. He doesn't know what's going on. He's definitely the target, okay? The behavior is aggressive, right? It can be repeated again and again and again. I'll give you my story. I was in ninth grade. I was the new kid. I was always the new kid because we moved either a year, sometimes only 10 months, or 2 years. I was always moving because my father was a colonel in the Army. And he retired in Nebraska. So this was the place where I was going to go through junior high, eighth grade, junior high. Gentleman named, I still remember his name, Ron Yancey. I don't know why he decided to pick on me, but every time walking home, he would pick on me because we took the same route. And it got to the point where I tried to avoid this gentleman. And then one time he tore up my books, the whole gambit. And I was so angry at him, I wanted to really physically harm him really bad. But I found an outlet, which was playing soccer. And eventually, I was on speaking terms with Ron when we were in high school. But it hurt really bad, okay? The name calling, the pushing, the shoving. Yeah, it was not something that you want to deal with when you're in eighth grade or deal with at any point in your life, okay? You have to treat people with respect. Remember the 9 Army values, right? One of them is respect, right? Always treat people with respect, okay? So here's one of the types of bullying, verbal, okay? This is what happened to me. I got name called big time, okay? Teasing, taunting, threatening to cause harm, all of those things have an effect on your emotional state. I mean, it's tough to really figure out how to deal with that, especially if you don't have anywhere to turn to, okay? But you can always turn to Sergeant Corbett or myself. If you're having an issue with bullying in school, please let me know or let us know so we can handle it for you, okay? We've already done it a few times, and I've been working. This is my 3rd year, and it does happen, okay? And we have a 0 tolerance for it. So that is one type, verbal. That's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, here we have social. Okay, I've seen this actually with my daughter, leaving her out of birthday parties at the friends group, right? Trying to isolate that person, okay? That's really what they're trying to do, is isolate them, okay? It's terrible, embarrassing someone in public, calling them names, or maybe they got a rip in their pants in the wrong spot and they spot it out and show everybody as you're trying to hide it, okay? Spreading rumors is something that I've seen big time here in the high school. The rumor factor is just really easy to do because you can just put that little thing out, boop, and then everybody knows about it, and pretty soon it's all across your whole social strata, and especially with the advent of social media and Instagram and Snapchat, okay? And here we have the physical. So mine was verbal and physical is what the gentleman did to me. Spitting, hitting, kicking, tripping, pushing. You see him breaking the pencil. He tore up my books. He would flip me off all the time. I mean, it got to the point where it really hit me hard. Okay, so that's why I take this stuff really seriously, because I've been a victim of it. All right, so you can see some of the risk factors. There's no single No single factor puts a child at risk of being bullied or bullying others. Bullying can happen anywhere to anyone. Depending on the environment, some groups such as lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender youth, or youth with disabilities, and socially isolated youth may be at increased risk of being bullied. Generally, teens who are bullied have one or more of the following risk factors. They are perceived as different from their peers, such as being overweight or underweight, wearing glasses or different clothing, being new to a school, which was me, or being unable to afford what kids consider cool. Your parents don't have enough money to buy the Michael Jordan shoes, Air Jordans, things like that, are perceived as weak or unable to defend themselves. I mean, maybe they're meek in stature, or they don't they walk with their heads down all the time and their shoulders hunched over. Okay, are depressed, anxious, or have low self-esteem. Okay, low self-esteem is a big part that I've seen since I've started teaching that really opened my eyes. And that's what we try to do here, is to build up your self-esteem. Nobody should be walking around having that low self-esteem. It's just not something. It hurts me when I see that. Okay, are less popular than others and have few friends. I didn't have many friends when I was growing up, so you had a couple that were your best friends, and that's who I hung out with. Do not get along with others, seen as annoying or provoking or antagonizing others for attention. So you're always constantly trying to get attention, no matter if it's good attention or bad attention. Okay, it's tough. It's tough, guys. All right, so I'm going to read the bullying if it happens to you. It's in your student text on your cadet portal under references, under unit 2, and then unit text, okay? Bullying, if it happens to you, become knowledgeable about what bullying is and what it is not. If you recognize repetitious aggressive behaviors directed at you or others, you should stay calm, stay respectful, and tell an adult as soon as possible. If you feel you are being bullied or you witness someone else being bullied, here are some of the things you should do. Speak up. If you feel uncomfortable with the comments or actions of someone, tell an adult. It is better to let a trusted adult know than to let the problem continue. Sergeant First Class Corbett or myself, let us know. If you feel like you're at risk of harming yourself or others, get help now, okay? My daughter actually tried to commit suicide because of bullying. I forgot about this one. I don't know how I could forget about it. Look at the kid bullying you and tell him or her to stop in a calm, clear voice. You can also try to laugh it off. This works best if joking is easy for you. It could catch the kid bullying you off guard. If speaking up seems too hard or not safe, walk away and stay away. Don't fight back. Find an adult to stop the bullying on the spot. Stay away from places where bullying happens. Stay near adults and other kids. Most bullying happens when adults aren't around. Talk to someone you trust, such as a teacher, school counselor, school administrator, parent, older relative, or friend. Don't keep your feelings inside. Telling someone can help you feel less alone. They can help you make a plan to stop the bullying. Be persistent. If the first person you talk to doesn't help, don't give up. Speak to someone else. If possible, write down everything that has been said or done to hurt you or someone else. Be careful to write down only things that have really happened. Ask the person you talk to not to do anything without telling you about it first. You have the right to know what is being done on your behalf. Do not tolerate bullying. If the person doing the bullying gets away with it, he or she will not stop. In fact, they may start bullying more people. And that's exactly what that gentleman did to other kids that I found out. Okay, so Kelly is jealous of Malia because she always does better in gym class and in athletic events. One weekend, Kelly decides to get back at Malia by not inviting her to a pizza party with the rest of their friends. When Chandra asks why Malia is not invited, Kelly says, Malia is just a jock. She's only interested in athletics. Is this bullying? But no, it's only bullying if Kelly repeatedly leaves Malia out and puts her down. Okay? It's got to have that repetition in it more than once. Right? Blank bullying is saying or writing mean things about another person. Right? That's verbal bullying. Right? Bullying is usually about power. The bully wants to control or harm another person. Right? Teens who are not considered cool have a higher risk of being bullied. If you are bullied or witness another person being bullied, you should, it's the first thing you should do, tell an adult. Okay? Tell Sergeant Corbett or myself, especially, definitely if it happens in our program, but if it happened in school also. Right? Now, what can you do with this new information? Okay, think about the examples of bullying you have witnessed. Okay, I gave you my example. You know, I'd like to actually hear some of your examples. All right. So, let's complete exercise 1. Okay, this is exercise 1, types of bullying. Okay, so if you go to your student text, remember the verbal. Create a tree map of examples of these verbal, like a verbal one: yelling, cursing, okay, social, okay, being ostracized constantly, especially on social media, physical, you know, punching, breaking things, okay? And this has to be filled out and sent in to me so it goes into your cadet portal, okay? So, obviously we can't do this with the people that are doing 100% online, but I will have examples, a class discussion. I expect to have some very lively discussion on this topic. Okay. So here's some reflection questions. If you were bullied or witnessed a bullying incident, how would you use what you've learned so far? Okay. Do you agree that an adult should always be told about bullying? Why or why not? Why do you think bullying happens more with children and teenagers than adults? All right. So now we're going to go into something relatively, it's not new, but it's the latest thing, and that's cyberbullying. And I have seen cyberbullying going on since I've started teaching. All right. So here's the definition of cyberbullying. Bullying via email, text, instant messaging, or social media, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, okay? It's real easy to cyberbully because you're behind a computer and you can fire away, okay? You're not sitting in front of somebody saying those words to their face. It's a little bit different when you're face to face with that person, okay? So cyberbullying, one of the biggest things is it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Okay, it's a constant thing, and since it's constantly doing it, you can't really get away from it, and that's why you hear some of the horror stories of those kids who just couldn't take it anymore and committed suicide to get away from it. Okay, that's a very powerful thing, to kill yourself to get away from cyberbullying. Okay? I mean, that is unconscionable. I read those stories and my heart just breaks for the parents. You know, I mean, you can pull up stories after stories about this stuff where people are committing suicide because of the bullying. That's why it's so important that we have zero tolerance. Okay? Now, here's some of the basics of what you should do for online. Okay? You definitely want to be careful what you post online. If you're typing something out, sometimes it's easier to type it out, set it down, especially if you're angry, and look at it and read it again. Okay, I've typed out a whole long email, come back, looked at it, said, no, I'm not even going to send that. It felt good typing it out, though, because it helped get my anger out. Right? And there's don't post messages or photos that will hurt or embarrass anyone. Right? I always had a boss that said, "Would your mother approve of that?" as you were getting ready to post something. Okay? So, would your mom or dad approve of what you're getting ready to post? Definitely don't give your password out to anybody, okay? Because they can use your account to bully somebody, and lo and behold, it comes back to you because it's your account. They never give it out. They never, ever, ever. Okay? My wife doesn't have my passwords either. So we've been married 20 years. Think about who sees what you post online. You never know who's watching and reading this stuff, okay? You just don't know nowadays. And always, look, I actually forbid, Facebook was the big thing when my kids were in high school, and they didn't have an account. It was just easier for me to deal with it. They didn't have a phone either, okay? Until my youngest son was a junior in high school, he finally had a phone, right? All right, so cyberbullying, if it happens to you, I'm going to read it to you, but you can also pull it up in your student text. Talk to an adult you trust about any messages you get or things you see online that make you sad or scared. If it's cyberbullying, report it. If you are being cyberbullied, here are some steps to take immediately. Don't respond and don't forward cyberbullying messages. Keep evidence of cyberbullying. Record the dates, times, and descriptions of instances when cyberbullying has occurred. Save and print screenshots, emails, and text messages. Use the evidence to report cyberbullying to web and cell phone service providers. Block the person doing the cyberbullying from your email or social media account. Report the cyberbullying to online service providers. Review the terms and conditions or rights and responsibilities sections of internet accounts. Cyberbullying often violates the terms of service established by social media sites and internet service providers. Accept the terms and conditions, that little block that nobody ever reads it, and we check it so we can download the app or whatever. Okay, it's in there. It's written in that language somewhere that we agreed to. Okay? Visit social media safety centers to learn how to block users and change settings to control who can contact you. Report cyberbullying to the social media site so they can take action against users abusing the terms of the service agreement. Cyberbullies who create fake accounts in order to bully others can be tracked down by social media sites. Right? There's always a digital crumb trail. Okay, they can always pull you up. Report cyberbullying to the police if any of the following are involved. This is important. Threats of violence, child pornography or sending explicit messages or photos, taking a photo or video of someone in a place where he or she would expect privacy, the bathroom, the shower, things like that, and stalking or hate crimes. Right? Report cyberbullying to your school. Cyberbullying can create a disruptive environment at school and is often related to in-person bullying. The school can use the information to help with prevention and response strategies. In many states, schools are required to address cyberbullying in their anti-bullying policy. Some state laws also cover off-campus behavior that creates a hostile school environment. Right? All right, so cyberbullying can be very damaging because it can reach hundreds of people online quickly. Bang, just like that. Okay? Jason is being cyberbullied on a social network that all of his friends belong to. Jason should not respond to the bully by telling people online what a jerk he is. And the reason why is it's just going to keep the cyberbullying going and gives more fuel to that bully, that cyberbullying. Why might a teenager report cyberbullying to his high school even though the bullying is not happening at school? Because in some states, laws cover off-campus behavior that creates a hostile work environment. Okay? If you send a naked photo of yourself to a friend and that friend's parents finds out about it, what's the worst thing that could happen? Your friend's parents could report you to the police for child pornography, even though it's a photo of yourself. Okay? I've already had one cadet that was accused of child pornography for doing this exact same thing. Your actions have consequences, people, so you really need to think before you do something. Okay? So let's think about discouraging others from cyberbullying. All right, can't do that. Yeah. All right, research shows that girls are more likely to cyberbully than boys. Why do you think this is true? Okay, think about that. I have my suspicions. Why do you think bullying is more common than cyberbullying? Is it or is it not? Okay. All right, so let's think about what you can do about bullying. Okay. So the effects of bullying. Any type of bullying produces a climate of fear and disrespect at school. It can cause increased levels of anxiety and depression in not only the victims, but also in other students, teachers, and administrators. While most victims suffer in silence, a few strike back, usually causing further harm to themselves or others. Bullying can have devastating consequences. Teen suicide is one. I brought that up. There are too many stories of young people bullied to the point where they see no way out but to take their own lives. In addition, teens who have been bullied are twice as likely to bring a weapon to school, according to a 2014 study by the Cohen Children's Medical Center. And we've all heard stories about teens bringing weapons to school and killing people. Okay? No one should have to pay the price of another person's careless hatred. The best way to deal with bullying is to stop it before it starts and get others involved. A bully who senses that others perceive his or her actions as unacceptable will quickly lose motivation. Okay, that's true. And if you want to know more about bullying, you can go to www.stopbullying.gov. Okay. All right, true or false? Any type of bullying produces a climate of fear and disrespect at school, even for students who are not being bullied. That's right, that's true. And remember, it creates an environment of you can't learn, and there's a lot of emotional discord. Okay? Teens who have been bullied at school are twice as likely to, that's right, bring a weapon to school. Right? That's why we have those lockdown drills now. When I went to school, there was no lockdown drill. It was unheard of to a school shooting. Right? People who bully others often think that bullying will help them fit in with others. They want to be part of the gang. Right? So think about the Army values and how you relate to bullying, and how, if you follow the Army values, how it does not relate to. Okay. So here we have exercise 2, Army values. Okay, there it is. It says, think about actions that you can take to prevent bullying or to stop it. Categorize the actions by the Army values. Okay. So example, standing up for a friend who's being bullied shows personal courage. Okay. So think about it. They gave you a personal courage example, but honor, I mean, loyalty should be an easy thing to do. Okay. And that's another thing that you have to turn in. Okay. So which Army values relate most to anti-bullying actions? Okay. What do you think? Which ones relate the least to them? Okay. Do you think the values better equip you to deal with bullying situations? Why or why not? And how do you think your leadership skills will impact potential bullying situations you encounter? Okay. That's a good question right there. I can't wait to discuss this one in class. All right, so think about what you can do in the future to prevent or stop bullying. Okay, now I need you to fill out the performance assessment task. Okay, there you see it. Here's your directions. These 4 things that you have to fill out. Don't care where you put them on here. Okay, but you got to answer these questions. All right, did you meet it or not meet it with your scenario or your summary? Okay, and so now we'll go for some more. Cyberbullying is bullying via email, text, instant messaging, or social media sites. To extort means to obtain something by force, threats, or other unfair means. I want your homework. Give me your lunch money. Okay. The definition of intimidate is to instill fear in others, right? They're going to use that fear of or the threat of violence to get what they want. Okay, so here again is our essential question. What can you do to prevent or stop bullying? Okay. Thank you for your time.